Everybody, Megro31 back here for FSI DFS. It is Saturday. Got a lot to cover here. Just want to remind you guys, so we won't be doing a Sunday video. It's just been too impossible, like football season and other things from McKinley and I. So if you're looking to play the Sunday slate, then just leave a comment in this video, and it still gets back to us even if it's past the slate. And if somebody's looking for content or help there, then we'll reach out and post some stuff for that. If nobody's interested and you're all playing football, that's perfectly fine. We'll see you on Monday. So here's how today breaks down. The Yankees and Red Sox play at like 1 o'clock, and I don't think they're on a slate. I think they're probably just showdown on DK or FanDuel if you're doing all day. DK has a 2-game 4 o'clock slate and then a 4-game turbo slate. FanDuel combined them all together in a 6-game slate. So I'm going to go over that because I know I've got fans out there like Brian Goodwin and Artful Dodger and some others who really like FanDuel content. So I'll cover that for you guys. And then we'll do the 8-game main slate, which lines up on both sites together 705, which is nice. But first, I just wanted to kind of go over what the playoff picture looks like for everybody. So let's start in the American League. Houston, they've clinched. They're about 7 games up on the Yankees, so they should be able to have like first place. They should be in cruise control. My guess is they'll rest players in and out. I don't think they'll limit their pitching too much. I think they want to stay tuned up and not get too rusty there. The Yankees, they've clinched a playoff spot, I believe. I mean, it's still mathematically possible for like Toronto or Tampa Bay, I believe, to take them over. So they're not completely set. They're about 8 games up on Cleveland for the first round buys. So I think they'll be fine there. I don't think they're going to take the foot off the gas. I think, they're still going to play. They're on a 5-game winning streak. So I think they're still good. Cleveland they are 8 games up on the White Sox. They haven't clinched yet, but I think that they're still, I think there's like 4 games away from elimination. So the magic number is 4 there for Cleveland. So I think they still have an opportunity, like that things should go south. Like, I don't think that's really going to get too interesting, but I think that there's an opportunity for that. So like we can't count the White Sox out yet. So looking at the wild card picture, you have Tampa Bay and Toronto both at 84 games, tied with Cleveland there. So they want to keep their foot on the gas there too, because of obviously the division winner, so they'd get the highest wild cards. Forget that. So Toronto and Tampa Bay are still in it. Seattle's still in it. And Baltimore is actually still creeping in it. They're only 3 games back from Seattle. Seattle's lost 1. J-Rod went on the IL, so they're losing some pieces out of this offense. So if Baltimore can stay hot and continue on, I mean, they have Houston, so it's going to be a tough task. But, if Houston's kind of mailing it in, it might be possible. So Baltimore's still in it. The White Sox are still in it. I think Minnesota have like a outside chance in it, and even Boston, they've got a lot of work to do on both Boston and Minnesota, but mathematically it's still possible for them. National League, the Dodgers are in cruise control. They shut down Kimbrel as their closer. They're resting people in and out of their lineup. Kershaw's going today. I don't think he goes super deep, so I think they're just getting ready for a playoff run. The Mets have clinched the playoff spot. So the Braves, there's only a 3-game difference there. So either one of them could still win the division. So I think both of them are going to keep their foot on the gas. St. Louis is up about 8 games on Milwaukee and should be clear for that final playoff spot there in the top wild card in the division or in the National League there. So I think they're okay. So Philly and San Diego are tied for the last one. Milwaukee is 2 games out. San Francisco is still mathematically in it, but I doubt it. They've got a ton of games that they need to make up there. So, they just need pretty much a miracle. So, like I said, Dodgers, I wouldn't really put too much on them. St. Louis, I think they're still okay to play, but in a couple of days they might start rotating some stuff, especially because Al hit a 700 home run. So we'll have to see how their lineup is. But Mets, Braves, Phillies, Padres, and Brewers are definitely all in it. So that's what the landscape looks like. So let's look at this early slate really quick. I'm not going to bring it up on the screen. I'm just going to talk through it, and then I'll give you FanDuel lines of your DK players, and you can just pretty much listen to my context if you want to play them. So we have Atlanta at Philly, 69 degrees there, wind blowing across the field. Kyle Wright and Billy Falter. Wright's been sporadic. I don't really like him in a matchup against Philly, especially the left-handers against him. Falter, I'm not playing. I really do like the Braves here. I think they can get to him. Again, they're still playing for like the division here. We'll have to see if Acuna is in the lineup. He is a little bit banged up there, but definitely give me the righties here. You might move Harris up to the second spot, and I'm okay with him potentially there because I don't know how long Falter goes before I get the bullpen. We might get some righties there. Philadelphia, definitely like the lefties against Right, I'd maybe play a mini stack there. I don't know if we'd full stack Philly, but I know Wright has been erratic, so I mean that might be a good GPP move. DeGrom gets Oakland here, and Ken Waldichuk on the other side. Not playing Waldichuk. DeGrom, really like him here. Even if he goes 5 or 6 innings, you probably could get 12 strikeouts and still pay off his price at almost 12K. I think they wanted to give him some like repetition. He's been out so long just to continue to keep him fresh, get him ready for a playoff run. And again, they can't take their foot off the gas either because they got the Braves right behind them. So not playing any A's, that would be the ultimate YOLO stack. And I think if you want some of the right-handed Mets bats, even Nemo's fine there, but Ruff might move up the lineup to like fifth spot. Alonso, Lindor, Akana, Escobar had a grand slam, I think, last night. So there's definitely some righties that you can play there. Blue Jays and Tampa Bay kind of this is just placing for the wild card. They basically it's trying to for seeding there. So and again, I guess they're still alive in the division. If the Yankees go on another stretch like they did in July and August, where they lose like 10 games in a row, but they didn't really lose 10 games in a row, but they lost like quite a few in a 10-game span. So I don't think that's potentially going to happen, but still, I think it's going to be a low scoring game, maybe like 2-1, 3-2. Manoah and Rasmussen, I like them as pitchers, but I don't know how far they're going to go. Toronto's got a decent bullpen. Tampa Bay doesn't as much. So I'm just going to kind of cross off this game. Very low total. Tampa Bay's pitcher's ballpark, so not super interested there. Nationals and Marlins, you have Fetty and Alcantara. Alcantara definitely is someone to look at against the Nationals. Fetty not interested in at all. Marlins make a very good cheap stack here. Definitely play some of them to try to fit some other guys in your lineup. The Cubs and the Pirates, it's at Pittsburgh. Wind's blowing in a little bit, 64 degrees. Pitchers Park. Wade Miley. I think if you're looking for a cheap dart on DK, you can play him. I wouldn't play him on FanDuel. Oviedo on the other side, I'm interested in. Cubs, both like lineups are pretty much garbage. If I'm looking for cheap players, I'm taking the Marlins against Fetty. I like that matchup much better. But if you want to take like any of these guys, sprinkle them in, that's fine, but I'm not super interested. But then here's where I really am interested: Milwaukee and Cincinnati, Great American Small Park. Wind's blowing in, but it's only like 5 miles per hour, 71 degrees, so it's one of the warmer games on the slate here. And Burns and Ashcroft, definitely like Burns here. I think let him go long enough to get a pretty decent score here, and it might be a good pivot off DeGrom. And on the other side here, Ashcroft not interested in, and Milwaukee is probably my favorite stack on the slate. So Yelich, Adames, Tellis, Renfroe, or Warong, however you want to take that. I just stick with those 5 and then fill in. So like I said, on FanDuel, for my main one, I'm taking DeGrom. If you want to go down to Burns, that's fine, but then you're just not getting a full stack in. But I don't think I'm going to full secondary stack. So DeGrom, if you think I think he's going to be fine. If you don't want to pay up that much, then go down to Burns, or maybe they're the same price on FanDuel. There's a difference on DK. Anyways, Tellis. I like a couple of the infielders from Miami for second and third: Adames, Yelich, Renfroe, or McCutchen. McCutchen's more expensive than Renfroe, so I don't understand that because he's had a couple good games recently. So, but if Renfroe's not in, McCutchen's a great one. I think I'd actually go long at that point, and then it leaves you an outfield spot and a utility spot. I would probably just play a couple Braves there, or just take 2 like high price one-offs that you really like because you're going to have some salary left. If you play 4, or if you find another stack that works there, I'm fine with that too. But I would kind of like the value with the Marlins, and then again, a couple high price guys there. GPP, I'm going Alcantara, and then give me the Mets here. So give me Alonso, give me Lindor, give me Canha, and give me Ruff. And then I'm mixing in a couple Braves. So I'm going to try to get Riley and Swanson in there. Maybe Grissom, he's a right-handed bat, and then I'll probably fill in again with a Miami, Chicago, Pittsburgh value play. Okay, so that covers the early slate. So let's go on to the main slate now. Let me just change my screen over here to DK, so I'm looking at the right pricing. Okay, so 7:05 start. First game we have is the Guardians and the Rangers. Call Contreras, Glenn Otto. Not interested in either one. Contreras is just like a good pitcher, but he doesn't really generate like a ton of strikeouts or anything. Otto, we've stacked against many times this season. So Cleveland, I think, just makes a GPP stack. I don't think the Rangers are going to have a lot of ownership, so they'd just be a lever stack or something, 150 max. So I'm just kind of crossing off this game. It's just kind of there on the slate. Houston and Baltimore, winds blowing out here. Oh, it's only 3 miles per hour, so it's not like anything, but the weather does look decent, 68 degrees, so it should be better for hitting. Framer Valdez, I'm okay with him. Again, maybe he'll be capped if because Houston's like far out, so and he's a 10-2. So I don't think I'm paying up for pitchers today in cash. And GPP, I think it's definitely, he's been really good recently. So I can see him working out. Orioles on the other side looks like a bullpen game with an opener and long reliever, so I'm not even touching that. Houston, I think, definitely makes a good stack here against that bullpen game. Again, you got to check lineup, see who's in it. And then Orioles on the other side, they're playing for a lot here. So, I like these young bats here. Just they're going to load up on the righties. Mountcastle, Santana, Rutschman, Aguilar. There's a bunch of different ones that you could throw there, but I think Baltimore's more of a leverage stack or GPP. Detroit and Chicago, winds blowing out here about 8 miles per hour, 72 degrees. So it's one of the warmer ones on the slate. Also, Drew Hutchinson, not interested in. Davis Martin, he's starting to go deeper into games. I don't think he's going to get the quality start on FanDuel. If you want to pay down for him, I'm okay. If you want to load up on bats, but just keep in mind that he might just pay off his salary. He's not going to like smash his salary, I don't think, on FanDuel. On DK, he's definitely in range for like an SP2 here, especially if you want to pay up for a pitcher. And again, to try to get bats in here. White Sox, I think, look as a GPP stack. They're relatively cheap. Hutchinson, although they're more righty-handed here, just besides like Sheets, there's really not another lefty, I think, besides like Mercado is a switch hitter in the lineup. So again, GPP here, Detroit, like just a lever stack against Davis Martin, but really there's no power or anything. Maybe it's a couple one-offs there might work for you. Seattle and KC, Logan Gilbert and Bubik, like Seattle's lost, I think, 2 in a row here. They lost J-Rod out of their lineup. So I really like them here against Bubik. I think Gilbert, I also like against KC. So, I'm going to live in this mid-range, I think, and he's my favorite pitcher on the slate here, I think, because Kershaw and Valdez, I don't want to pay up for them because I don't know how deep they're going to go with their teams already clenching. So here I'm going to stick with the righties. So probably skip Crawford even is leading off, but if he works in your stack, that's fine. If you can't find another shortstop, but give me France, Henniger. You can't play Santana and France on DK, but you can on FanDuel, and it works out really nicely. Moore, Torrance is a really cheap catcher at 2-2, batting 6th, and then or Cassell at 2-4. Haggerty even at the bottom lineup do a wraparound thing. I'm fine with that also. So give me the righties for Seattle. Kansas City, I'm not interested in. They're cheap, but I think it'd just be a leverage stack against Gilbert, who I think is going to have a lot of ownership. Angels and Twins here. Ty Detmer. Wow. Whoa, where did that come from? Reed Detmers and Joe Ryan are here. Reed Detmer's not interested in. I mean, he's cheap, but he's been only pitching. He's only gotten like single DK points recently. So in Minnesota, I think is a really great spot here. It's going to be cool in Minnesota, like 62 degrees, but wind's blowing out at like 10 miles per hour. So definitely like that. We have Ryan on the other side. I think he's been solid recently. So definitely like him in cash. I know he's really good against righties, and that's what the powers in this lineup, like Refugio and Trout and Ward. I know you have Ohtani's a lefty and Ford and a couple others in this lineup, but they just really, especially the bottom of this lineup, really doesn't scare me. So I think definitely like a lot of Joe Ryan here, and I like a Minnesota stack. They're relatively cheap. Detmers, they have a lot of righties. They have righties with power, so sign me up for that. Giants and Diamondbacks, Cobb and Merrill Kelly. Cobb's just really struggled recently, so I think he's okay in the cheap range at 7.5. I'd rather play like Martin or Detmers and over him. Um, and then Kelly on the other side, I think is okay in the middle range. Again, he's been down, but he's got some tough matchups, like 2 against the Dodgers, and there was against San Diego. So he might be like a surprise here. So I have him down on the chart today, but he's definitely in play in cash. If I'd rather go Gilbert, Ryan, or Montgomery. But definitely if you're playing a 20 max, he's definitely in play here because San Francisco really hasn't done much recently. They'll throw a ton of lefties at him. So San Francisco makes a great GPP stack if Kelly is down. But I just think it's the matchups recently, and San Francisco is not the same as the San Diego or a Dodgers matchup against them. But just keep in mind, if you play these lefties, probably going to pitch hit for, and I don't think they're really going to make that value, although they are cheap. Arizona definitely like is my favorite cheap stack and a potential GPP stacks. Love the lefties here for sure. Carroll, Marty's a switch hitter. Even Christian Walker's fine righty on righty. Rojas, Thomas, might see Pat Smith in there. So definitely going to have some Arizona lineups tonight. San Diego Padres and Colorado and Coors, Darvish and Cruel. I mean, Darvish, I have a fade. He's probably more of a no interest. He's a good pitcher in Coors Field. So I don't know if I really want to pay 9.7, but it could be a great contrarian play because the Rockies have struggled at times, even in Coors Field. So that's something that we potentially could take advantage of at low ownership. So just keep that in mind if you're playing GPPs, even in a 20 max. I wouldn't even keep it for 150 max. I think you could do it in a 20 max field. Cruel on the other side, not playing. Don't, no interest there. Padres going to be another top stack on the slate again, even though the wind's blowing in here. Like at the Soto had a home run last night. I think they definitely Cruel's bad both sides of the plate. Take lefties, take righties, take whoever you want. Colorado definitely a GPP stack against Darvish here. Maybe even more of a leverage stack if he does pick up a little bit of ownership. If people feel the same way I do, that Colorado could struggle even in Coors, and Darvish is a decent enough pitcher that might be able to shut them down and be low owned and sneaky. So we'll see how things go there. And then finally, St. Louis and the Dodgers, Jordan Montgomery and Clayton Kershaw. Again, I don't know how long Kershaw is going to go. So I think, I'm really not going to go and pay 10.5 for him. And then St. Louis just has all this right-handed power. So just have to see what the lineup is. But, they could put out a lot of right-handed bats, and they could actually get to Kershaw and put up a decent number. Montgomery, I know it's scary to play him against the Dodgers, but see what the lineup looks like here. Like Betts and Turner and Smith and might be out and resting, and the bottom of the lineup is good, but not as scary. And Montgomery, he's cooled off since he had that stretch after he got traded from the Yankees and just was on complete fire. But I think in the mid-range at 7.7 and a GPP, he's worth a flyer today or even in cash. Because I think just the matchup against the Dodgers, like St. Louis has more to prove than LA does, and I think that might definitely bode well for him. Again, St. Louis favorite leverage stack. I think probably a favorite GPP stack, even though they're not in the GPP column. I like them better than Colorado. The GPP stacks are weak tonight, so St. Louis and Baltimore, I think more as a leverage stack here, are much better plays than the other GPP stacks that I have listed there. But I really want to put them in the leverage spot just because of the pitchers that they're up against and the high price and the name recognition, and they might pick up ownership just because who they are, not because of the matchup or anything, looking at like a real baseball situation. Dodgers on the other side, I think you can play them in cash against Montgomery if they have their full lineup out there. They're the Dodgers, and I don't think I don't think they ever mail it in, kind of like Houston, if they're out there and playing, but I don't think they know how to take it easy. But we'll see with that. So let's look at some lineups to get you on the way for your day, for your college football and all the other fun stuff on a fall weekend. So, like I said, I'm taking Gilbert and Ryan here for my pitchers, and it's kind of hard to get Machado in there with this. He's just expensive, especially on FanDuel. But I think I found a way to do it. So I want Miranda, Cronenworth, Machado, Correa, and then Soto or Profar. Those are the core guys I want. And then I'm going to try to find Minnesota or San Diego guys to mix in the other two spots to complete this act. If I can't, I'm just going to take cheap one-offs and make it work. And then on FanDuel, I really want to get up to Gilbert, but you can't do it with Manny and get the guys I want. So I think I'm going to go with Ryan. So if I take Gilbert, I've got to take a one off. I can't physically get the Minnesota and San Diego guys that I want. So I figure with Ryan, I got to take a one off also. So give me Miranda, Cronenworth, Manny, Correa, and Soto, and then maybe in Profar, and then fill in with the take one off, and then fill in with like Minnesota or San Diego just to make the stacks complete. If I'm taking Gilbert, I'm going to take Torkelson or another cheap first baseman. There are some guys at 2-1 that are in really good spots there. So I'm going to look for potential and just kind of punt first base there. I know it's kind of dangerous, but it gives me everybody else I want. It gives me the pitcher I want. Cronenworth, I have to take Urshela. If I take Gilbert also, and then Correa, Profar, and then I can fill it out with the rest of the San Diego and Minnesota guys I want there. For GPP, I'm taking Valdez and then Martin, so give me the savings there. And then I really want to take Houston and Seattle right-handed bats. So unfortunately, I can't play both France and Santana there, so I'm going to take France. If he's not in, obviously Santana takes over there. Altuve, Bregman, shortstop, I'll just have to see who works there. If I can get Pena in from Houston, if I can get the guy that has outfield and shortstop eligibility, I believe, for DK, which would be Dylan Moore, Alvarez, Hanger here, and then just like whoever I can fill in there for outfield. If like one of the big bats like Alvarez, Altuve, Bregman get the day off, it makes it so much easier. I pretty much just want the right-handed bats that correlate well in the top of the lineup for Seattle, and then fill it in with the beef of Houston there, and then that makes a really nice GPP stack. And like I said, GPPs, I'm also fine playing with St. Louis stack and Baltimore stack if you want to get rid of Houston, but Seattle's the one that I really, really like in there. And then for FanDuel, give me Montgomery, give me France, Altuve, Bregman, Haniger, and Alvarez. And then again, same thing, filling in with Seattle pieces and Houston pieces. If some of the Houston bats are out, that's fine. And again, if you want to throw St. Louis in there over Houston or Baltimore, that's fine. If you want to pay up on pitcher, if you can get up to Valdez, I'm fine with that. If maybe like a Baltimore Seattle stack works better to get to Valdez as a pitcher, if you don't want to play Montgomery against the Dodgers, I'm fine with that too. So lot to cover there. Thanks for still being with us. Again, no video tomorrow. If you want coverage, just put something in the comments below. We'll try to get you out some pitcher stacks GPP. If you're not playing, perfectly fine. We'll see you on Monday. So if you have more questions about today's slate, drop in the comments below. Hit me up at Twitter at Megalure31. If you want more information on FSI DFS and all the things that we're covering this fall, we've got college football, we've got NFL, we've got obviously Major League Baseball, we got NASCAR, 2 races at Texas, we got Xfinity today, we've got Cup Series tomorrow, we got NHL starting up soon, NBA is just around the corner, EuroLeague basketball should be back on October 6th, so many cool things coming. So check us out, join our Discord. It's free to do that. It just gets you in there. Like some of the rooms are premium, but there's a lot of content that's not, that is there and helpful for you. So appreciate you watching. Please like the video, share with your friends if it's helped you out. Subscribe to our channel so you know when all our videos are coming out, and we will see you next time. Have a great weekend, everybody.